get into the market update for January 31st, 2025, as we close up the first trading month of the year. And it was a red day overall to kind of follow through on Monday's big drop in the DeepSeek news. And really, that's what colored this entire week. It was all about AI, and NVIDIA was down nearly 20% on the week, Microsoft down over 6%. And today there was certainly some follow through there. You had Google was the only one. Amazon and Google were the main ones that were up. Tesla up a little bit as well, but Apple down slightly after their earnings, which a lot of people thought were bad, and the market just kind of shrugged them off, and they finished relatively neutral. NVIDIA though down 3 2/3% on the day. Microsoft flat, Meta flat, and a lot of red kind of across the board. And the big headline is about tariffs, and it looks like came late in the day that there will be a 25% tariff on Canada and Mexico and a 10% tariff on China. Now, it does look like there are some exemptions, like oil for Canada, for example. So, that's probably going to stay because we need a lot of that Canadian oil. And if you don't want oil prices to jump, that's certainly going to have to be an exception. But the market isn't expecting these tariffs to be wide-ranging for very long. And, it's part of the negotiation process as Trump usually does it. And we'll see how long they certainly last. But the market definitely didn't like it and sold off as we closed the month. And in addition, we had some CPI data that was not bad. We're kind of in that 2.5% range on inflation. And that means, it's not where the Fed wants it to be. And they kind of reiterated they wanted to get down that down to 2. But I think as long as it's kind of trending lower, there's no real pressure for them to raise rates. And, I think they're still on the path for 1 to 2 cuts for this year, but that could certainly change. A lot of this data could accelerate to the upside on inflation as we enter the back half of the year. So that will be certainly important to watch, especially with these tariffs. How much will that feed into inflation? And so that was the market today, very red across the board. I'll give you just generally, the Dow was actually didn't really move much. There was that, Dow down 337 points, 0.75%. SP down about 50 basis points, 30 points there. And then Nasdaq was down 54. That was about a little over 0.25%. So actually had some relative strength in the tech stocks today, even though you had that weakness out of NVIDIA. It shows you, mid, small caps, they certainly did poorly as well. You had names like Decker was down, Decker Outdoors, they had earnings. We're in the midst of earnings season. And, it's certainly been a mixed bag overall. And, the dollar was up a little bit on the tariff news today. Gold finished down 0.4%, but still remains near fresh all-time highs after the close yesterday. So treasuries are mostly weaker. You had some curve steepening with yields still lower overall on the week. But obviously, this news is going to cause some volatility within the treasury market, and you're seeing that in equity markets as well. So that was a interesting way to close up the month, and we'll get a lot more news throughout the weekend. I think they like to do this kind of around the market close or after the market close, so it doesn't kind of spook the market while it's open, and they can digest and kind of figure out what this really means, how long these tariffs are going to stay in place, and how that will feed into markets on Monday. So I think February could certainly bring a lot of fireworks in markets, and I kind of do expect the month of February to have a negative return for equities overall. But we'll see. A very interesting way to close the month of January.